So how do websites work? Now, I have an entire web development course, so because this is a Python course, we're not going to go super deep into this topic. Instead, we're going to focus on the Python side of things. But I do want to help you understand what we're building and how everything works, because hopefully by the end of this course, you're able to actually change your portfolio, update your portfolio to your own liking, and showcase the projects that we've built throughout the course. So I have a website for you here. We have XKCD, which is just a little funny comic website. If I click refresh here or enter this URL, I'm taken to this website. But how does this actually work? How is my browser, in this case Google Chrome, able to display this web page for me? I need to be connected to the internet, right? So there's some sort of data that's being transferred for me to be able to see this. So let's explore how this works. And look at that. I created a nice little diagram for you. And in this diagram, I'm going to attempt to just tell you exactly how it works. It's quite simple. We have our browser right here, which can be Google Chrome, it could be Safari, it could be Firefox. It doesn't matter. This browser, we're able to type into it a website or maybe Google for a website and then click on a website. When we click on a website, what happens is that through internet, the browser makes a request all the way to another machine. And this machine, which we call a server, is located anywhere in the world. It doesn't really matter. Because through our internet network, the browser is going to say, hey, this website, who owns that website? Or which machine can serve me the files for that website? And using some complex logic, it's going to find this server, which at the end of the day is just a computer, and we're actually going to show you and deploy our own server. Well, it simply says, hey, give me some data, because without data, I'm not able to display anything on a web page. And the server, well, first of all, they communicate over something called HTTP and HTTPS. Because the browser and the server are two different machines, right? The browser is on my laptop right now. And the machine, which is a server, it can be anywhere in the world, they need to communicate some way. And we need a rule to say, we don't want all these machines talking to each other with no rules in place. For example, we can agree that when we communicate between you and I'm going to speak in English. In the same way, HTTP and HTTPS, which is a secured, encrypted version of communication, allows me to say, hey, can you give me the data? And the server to understand, oh, this website or this browser needs the data that I have. If I go back to this website over here, you see that I'm using HTTPS. And it's saying I want to use the HTTPS protocol, that is the language, to communicate that I want to go to this website. So as soon as I hit enter, it's going to make that request all the way to a server somewhere. And then the server is going to respond with this data. Let's continue with our diagram. So the request has just been made. This server just happens to have 3 files that we need. One is an HTML file, and this file is the text or content of the website. The other one is the CSS file, and this contains all the styling of the website. So that is colors, maybe some fonts, maybe the position of the elements, anything to do with style so it doesn't look like a boring piece of text. And then we have JavaScript. JavaScript is what gives websites behavior. When I log into Facebook or maybe tweet something on Twitter, JavaScript is allowing me to perform those actions. Because with just HTML and CSS, we just have text and some pretty styling. With JavaScript, we're able to take actions. But we don't need to focus on that too much. All we need to know is that the server, because it's a computer, on its files has these 3 files for us. And these 3 files, what happened, get sent to the browser because the browser was really, really kind and asked, hey, can you give me data? And the server says, sure, here it is, and sends us these 3 files. And these 3 files, when they get sent back, the browser understands them. And because it understands them, even though to us it may look like gibberish, it's able to display that website for us. But let me ask you a question. Up until now, I haven't really talked about Python. I thought this was a Python course, Andre. Why are you telling me all this stuff that I don't care about? Well, because in here, there's one piece that can actually be written in Python. Can you guess what that is? If you guessed the server, congratulations. You get 5,000 points. You see, the browser is something that, well, it's an application we download on our computer, right? But up until now, the server was kind of a mystery box, a machine, a computer somewhere. But Python programmers can actually write the logic and the rules that servers can act upon. So all this communication of, hey, can you give me data, can be interpreted in Python and then send this data to the browser using Python. And we're going to build our own server over the next couple of videos, but also touch upon these HTML, CSS, and JavaScript files so we can actually display something like a website. Now, I want to finish off this video with one question. Do you think that this server has to be written in Python? What do you think? No, it doesn't, right? The browser doesn't care what this machine is like. All it cares about is these 3 files. And because we're speaking in this HTTPS protocol, the browser says, hey, I don't care what language you speak, I don't care anything. I'm just going to tell you through this HTTPS, just give me the data that I want. And we can do whatever logic we want in here. I can send emails from here if I want. I can send text messages. I can do math operations. I can play a game on this computer if I want. It doesn't really matter. As long as I am able to send these files back to the browser. So we can do that with Python, but we can do that with other languages like Node, like PHP, like Java. So we can write a server in any type of language. The only thing we can't really do is on the browser side. On the browser side, we have to use these 3 files because, well, at least in general terms, it can only understand JavaScript, which is another programming language. All right, let's explore this topic a little bit more in the next video.